gorgeous day in downtown Miami. On a Sunday, Hyundai presents Major League Baseball. The Miami Marlins are home. However, the Tampa Bay Rays have made themselves right at home. In the first two games of the series, including a drubbing of 13-4 last night, the Marlins have fallen to 31 and 28. So it's time to get going on a Bark at the Park Sunday. And look who's back. Gabby Sanchez is back. James Shields, Anibal Sanchez is the pitching matchup. Lil Jose making friends no matter how tall they might be. This is the result of the Marlins' 5-game losing streak. They entered that 5 games tied for first in the NL East. They've dropped to 4 back. They'd obviously like to stop that streak. And they're hopeful that a return from AAA with Gabby Sanchez will get the offense going. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, along with Tommy Hutton. Marlins have lost 2 in a row to the Rays. They've lost 5 in a row overall. They're hopeful that Gabby Sanchez coming back is a little bit of a spark offensively.
Yeah, I think it's well-timed. I think Gabby went down 19 games, about 3 weeks in AAA. Really did a good job. He was able to clear his head and get things going, and I think he's certainly needed in the lineup. Marlins
did not get a good start last night from Carlos Zambrano. He had a sore back. Today, Anibal Sanchez takes aim at the Rays.
Sanchez had a couple of career starts against Tampa Bay's 1-0, an ERA in the mid-4s. Last time out, not a good one for Anibal Sanchez. Gave up 8 hits and 7 runs in a loss to the Braves. And you might remember the home run that Dan Uggla hit, number 199 in his career against Sanchez. He needs to keep the ball in the ballpark, have a solid outing. I think especially so because of the short outing of Zambrano yesterday.
The last guy the Marlins want to see in a 5-game losing skid is James Shields, who stuck it in their ear not once but twice last year.
Yeah, 2 complete games against the Marlins last year. This guy's a quality pitcher. However, his last 2 starts against the White Sox, against the Yankees, he's gone 11 innings, given up 17 hits and 10 earned runs. So a little bit of a downspin for James Shields, who had an incredible year last year for the Rays.
Gabby is back. The Marlins try to shake things up right now. Having lost 5 in a row, the Rays and the Marlins finish off this 3-game series in Miami today. Rays and the Marlins. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine, guys.
All right, Rich, thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. Marlins made some news again after the game against the Rays, designated Donnie Murphy for assignment. Donnie had some good moments here. Didn't have a great overall year in terms of the numbers, but he's come through with a lot of big hits in his stint with the Marlins. But the team is happy to welcome back Gabby Sanchez to the fold, Jeff.
Yeah, very happy. You know, Gabby provides a very solid first base. He's kind of groomed himself one of the better first basemen in the National League, and you know what? They need Gabby to become just what he's done the first 2 years of his career with the Marlins. Just a nice, steady presence in that bottom of that order. You see her making great plays in the field and clutch hitting. I mean, that's what he was known for. He was probably the Marlins' most consistent hitter, at least in the first half the last couple years. They need him to relax his mind, get back to that nice consistency that they need at the bottom of the lineup right now because, frankly, the bottom of the Marlins lineup has really struggled this year.
Gabby hit .310 in 19 games for New Orleans. He also walked 16 times and struck out only 11. You see those numbers on the right. Donnie Murphy now available for anybody designated for assignment because of his contract. The Marlins couldn't just flat out send him to the minor leagues in that situation. And a 27 game, sometimes the numbers don't tell the story for a guy off the bench. Some big hits there for Murphy. Gabby's numbers, though, walks, strikeouts in the minors, 16 walks, 11 strikeouts. That's kind of the numbers he shows when he's on target here and what you want to see from him.
Yeah, you know, with the combination of him and Logan Morrison together, when they get started offensively, makes the whole top of that order, which has been pretty good for the Marlins, even better. So they'll be seeing a lot more pitches to hit. All
right, we've got Game 3 of this series coming up. Gabby back in the lineup. Anibal Sanchez will toe the slab. It will be Sanchez against tough James Shields as the Marlins try to salvage one out of these three against the Rays in the Citrus Series. We'll have it for you next.
In downtown Miami. Roof closed, AC on. Pitch a penny brings you first pitch. Anibal Sanchez. Desmond Jennings for the Rays goes after the first pitch and pulls it foul. And it's 0-1. Sanchez making his 12th start. See, his last 6 starts, he's not had a whole lot of run support. And that goes for the entire season. He's one of the Marlins starters that has had the least run support in 2012. He gets Jennings, Carlos Pena, and B.J. Upton after the Rays thoroughly dismantled the Marlins last night, 13-4. Jennings was not a key figure in that. He was 1 for 5 with an RBI. pops it up, back behind the plate. Hayes tosses the mask and comes back, and it's 3 rows in. And of course, the Rays won the first game by a score of 5-1. Right now, Tommy, all the numbers, the 5-game losing streak, runs scored, runs allowed, are pretty lopsided.
Yeah, they're pretty lopsided, Rich. Last 5 games, the Marlins have been outscored 39-8. And Ozzie would love to see some offense. He'd love to see a nice outing from Anibal Sanchez.
Reyes throws a laser across the infield, and Jennings is out. This is a Rays lineup that banged out 14 hits and had 13 runs. Carlos Pena's in the 2 spot. B.J. Upton's hitting 3rd. Matt Joyce in the cleanup spot. You get into the lower end of the lineup, and that's the part of the lineup that did the damage last night. Ben Zobrist, a couple of 2-run homers. He's driven in 5 in the series. Jose Lobaton will do the catching. Elliott Johnson, 4 hits last night. Sean Rodriguez at 3rd, and James Shields will hit 9th. And here is Pena. He is 2 for 5 in the series, and he has drawn 4 walks. That's one of the things that Carlos Pena does well.
Boy, to punctuate what you just said, Rich, the 6, 7, and 8 hitters last night were 9 for 12 with 10 RBIs.
Sanchez throws a strike.
Anibal Sanchez will always remember interleague play. It was at Yankee Stadium where he made his major league debut, picked up a win in that game against the Bombers.
This is just his 3rd start against the Rays, which is odd because the Marlins have played the Rays home and home since Sanchez joined the big league club.
He threw a good game in interleague play against the Cleveland Indians a couple of weeks ago. He gave up just 2 runs in 7 innings.
That's one of the, and, that's one of the oddities about this stretch by the Marlins. They have lost 5 in a row. And people keep saying, well, it's because the schedule is getting tougher and they're playing better teams. Not true. The pitch is down low. I mean, the Marlins went into Cleveland, a first-place team, and took 2 of 3 there. They swept the first-place Washington Nationals. They took 2 of 3 on the road against the Phillies. The Braves came in, and remember, the Braves had just come off an 8-game losing streak, and now Atlanta can't lose. The Braves are red hot, and obviously the Marlins are hopeful that they have that same fate, that they're able to turn it around like Atlanta did.
You have a feeling it's going to kind of be that way all year. You just don't want to get too cold and get buried too far down.
Marlins in the month of May had a lot of success against the San Francisco Giants. They took 5 of 8 against the Giants, and the Giants right now are red hot. They are smoking. They're starting to push the Dodgers at the top of the National League West.
The Giants 4 games behind the Dodgers. They're 8 games over 500 now.
They've won 7 of their last 10. Sanchez trying to keep Pena close. B.J. Upton knocked in a couple and has a 2 for 9 series going. And he smokes that ball in the gap. Left center field. That's deep. Morrison going back. It's off the wall. Morrison picks it. Pena to 3rd. On his way home. Infante's relay is not in time. And safe at 3rd is Upton. It's what the Rays do very well. They run the bases extremely well. They're very aggressive. They will take the extra base. Pena scored, and Upton hustled to 3rd.
This fastball doesn't run in enough, and Upton just crushes it right at the base of the left center field wall. That's a long way out there. Logan Morrison in left field for the first time in a while, gets it in quickly, but as soon as Upton saw the relay throw sail a little high, that's when he took off for 3rd base. Good base running.
And here is Matt Joyce. The Rays, with the 2 wins in this series now, 34-25. Infield's back. Joyce a little tapper. Hayes gets it in fair territory and gets the out. So it's the 2nd out of the inning, and a nice play by a hustling Brett Hayes.
Good play by Hayes to spot the ball, see where it was, and then pounce on it and get to it before it went foul, because he knew he had an out. And he also knew he could check the runner at 3rd, which he does, and then gets the out at first base.
And here is Zobrist now with Upton at third, Sanchez to the plate.
Tell you what, there are a lot of Rays fans here, and I'm sure a lot of folks made the trek from the other coast knowing that they'd be comfortable and inside here. And they've had a lot to cheer about. Marlins fans have not had a lot to cheer about in this series.
It is a 5-game stretch in which the Marlins offense has been ice cold, and the starting pitching and even the bullpen has wobbled. Carlos Zambrano with a stiff back knocked around last night. Zobrist did a lot of the knocking around. Zobrist, two-run homers, a couple of walks, ended up driving in 4. He scored 4 runs, and there's Zambrano's line from last night's ball game. Ozzie Guillen feels that Zambrano's back should be better, and he'll be able to make his next start. And Zobrist at the plate is a great example of how in the heck are the Rays doing it.
Well, Zobrist was 3 for 3 with 4 RBIs and those 2 home runs. If you're on the Rays and you come into the clubhouse every day, you have to check the lineup card to see, number one, where you're playing, and number two, in which spot of the order you're hitting. Joe Maddon mixes things up very well.
As I said on Friday night, I feel that Joe Maddon is the Bill Walsh of Major League Baseball. Here's the 3-2. He'll pop. Infante's out, and he's there, and he makes the catch. But B.J. Upton starts the scoring, and it's 1-0 Rays. Is brought to you by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. By Papa John's. Right now at Papa John's, get any large pizza, even specialties, for only $12. And by Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer today for great deals on an amazing lineup of Toyota vehicles. Toyota, moving forward. B.J. Upton with an RBI double and a 1-0 lead for a guy that really didn't need any runs against the Marlins last year, and that's James Shields.
Pretty incredible. Last year he had 2 starts against the Marlins. 1 a shutout, a complete game.
Reyes on the first pitch. Pena digs it out.
Pena way off the line, able to pick that ball, well positioned.
Marlins lineup, you've seen Reyes. Now meet Omar Infante, Hanley Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton. Logan Morrison hitting 5th, and Gabby Sanchez up from AAA, slotted 6th. Chris Coughlin trying to get his bat going in the 7th spot. Brett Hayes, the catcher. Anibal Sanchez hits 9th.
In the other game, Rich, that Shields pitched, he went 9 innings again and gave up an unearned run.
Omar Infante now 3 for 9 in this series against Shields, the 30-year-old right-hander out of Hart High School in Newhall, California. This is a guy that was a 16th round draft pick in 2000. He was headed to LSU and instead signed with the Rays. He has a devastating changeup, which he throws to righties and to lefties.
He's a guy that actually will throw more changeups than fastballs. He'll mix in a cutter. He'll mix in a breaking ball.
Buries the change in the dirt. The count is 1-2. As we've pointed out, his last 2 starts have been lackluster at best. 17 hits, 10 earned runs. Infante hits that ball to left center field. Upton and Jennings, take your pick. There's speed on both sides. And Jennings makes the catch. 2 outs. Rays defense, best in baseball last year. Not so much this year. Brought to you by Cleveland Clinic.
Yeah, down at the bottom, near the bottom in defense with Jennings, Upton, and Joyce. Sean Rodriguez, Elliott Johnson, a big offensive night last night. Ben Zobrist, so did he. Pena at first base, very slick around the bag, and Jose Lobaton is behind the plate.
Hanley Ramirez up. Goes after the first pitch, squibs it over towards Pena, who makes a sprawling stop and steps on the bag. That would be 6 pitches by James Shields. 1-0 Rays. Rays on top. Cleveland Clinic, Florida brings you the Marlins defense.
It's been a while, 3 weeks about, since Logan Morrison's been in left field. Coughlin in center, Giancarlo the right fielder. No change with Reyes and Ramirez, Omar Infante, Gabby Sanchez. Welcome back, Gabby. And Brett Hayes behind the plate.
Jose Lobaton pops one up, and Morrison comes charging in from left. Romo makes the catch. Sanchez gets an out on a pitch here in the second. Our telecast in high definition brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Crowd still filing in on a warm Sunday in Miami.
And that would be humans and canines.
That's right.
Filing in.
It is Bark at the Park Day. Always one of the favorites for Marlin fans and their canine friends. And a section up down the first base line reserved for fans and their friends.
You know, the dogs are even much more comfortable now.
Sanchez misses out. Elliott Johnson sure enjoyed his night last night. He was 4 for 5. He drove in 3. He scored a couple runs, and now he walks here with 1 out, and it was a 1-out walk that hurt Sanchez in the first.
Yeah, that's a frustrating thing. I was thinking about it at the time. the Marlins over this stretch of 5 consecutive losses have drawn a lot of walks. Jeff Conine brought up the point in Marlins Live. They've gotten men on base. A lot of those have been because of bases on balls, but they just haven't been able to cash in. And the Rays cashed in the first inning on a walk.
Johnson away from first, and Sanchez delivers a strike to Sean Rodriguez. The Miami native gets the start at third base for the Rays. Rays as a team have 47 stolen bases. And Joe Maddon's not afraid to start runners. Elliott Johnson himself has 9 of those bags. That one was closer. Alfonso Marquez is the first base umpire. Chad Fairchild calling balls and strikes. Corey Blazer at second. Brian Onora is at third base. Rays get a run in the top of the first. Johnson away from first. And Sanchez gets another strike, and it's 0-2.
Sanchez early on has thrown some nice changeups. He got Zobrist to pop up to second on a changeup to end the first inning. That was a good one there.
Up the middle into center field. Rodriguez has a 2-strike hit on an 0-2 pitch. He drives it back up the box. And the Rays are set up now with first and second, and with 1 out, Shields, who can swing the bat a little bit, in all likelihood will be trying to bunt.
Yeah, I agree. He can swing it, but most likely Joe Maddon will say, drop down a nice sacrifice for me. And Shields will think in his mind, yeah, but I want to swing.
That's right. A respectable 188 average. He, of course, is the cousin of Aaron Rowan, who was in camp with the Marlins and who played for Ozzie.
Doesn't quite have the Aaron Rowan type stance.
Now, the Aaron Rowan stance is more of a sitting on a bar stool, kind of relaxed and ready for the pitch. He swings. It's a roller. Infante out there. Reyes, an acrobatic turn, gets the double play. That's a terrific turn by Jose Reyes. Infante, Reyes to Gabby Sanchez. Bottom of the second in Miami. 1-0 Rays. for the Dogs. That has been the last 5 games for the Marlins. They've lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, they've gone to the Dogs in the last 5 games. So hopefully things can change with the Dogs here present.
But of course, as they say in baseball, a win streak is just a week away. Giancarlo Stanton, Logan Morrison, and Gabby Sanchez now against James Shields, who threw all of 6 pitches in the first inning. Stanton checks his swing, and the count is 1-0.
That looked like the cutter that Shields runs into lefties, away to righties.
Rays were very cautious in game 1 pitching to Stanton. Last night, once the Rays had the game in hand, they obviously could go after him a bit. Stanton doubled last night. He now has 17 to lead the ball club, and Shields misses way outside.
A couple of guys hit the ball well last night. Giancarlo and Justin Ruggiano. Double and a home run for Ruggiano.
Here's the 3-0 pitch. And the count's 3-1. Rays have their infield shifted against Stanton.
Pena well off the line at first base. The second baseman, Zobrist, not quite up the middle, but very close.
John Tuitu, our cameraman, has had 2 balls hit right at him already.
But I've noticed one thing. All the other cameramen scurry behind Tuitu because they know he's going to make the play.
You've got to get that man some protection. Here's the 3-2. Foul back. And it stays at 3-2. Stanton, Morrison, and Gabby Sanchez. The Marlins hopeful that that 5-6 spot can perk to life, that Morrison can get it going, that Gabby can continue what he was doing in AAA. Right down the middle. Shields with a fastball at the knees, and Stanton is rung up.
You know, one thing, Shields had to throw more pitches to Stanton than he threw in the entire first inning. But no stranger to innings pitched. Last year, 11 complete games for James Shields. He finished 3rd in the Cy Young voting.
Justin Verlander, CC Sabathia finishing in front of Shields, who misses low to Logan Morrison, and Morrison is on a slide right now that has seen his average dip to 214. He's 0 for his last 18. Changeup, and he wouldn't go for it. It's 2-0.
And it was a struggle too. There's the 0 for 18 for Logan Morrison. In the 19 games that he played first base, he hit just 185.
And Shields,
2 hitters in a row now. He's fallen behind, 3-0.
And fallen off the mound on both of those 2-0 pitches. He came back to strike out Stanton. He's 3-0 on Morrison. That fastball caught the knees on the black, and it's 3-1. Look at that pitch. Pitch number 4.
Logan Morrison wants to get back to that April mode. He had 310 in April.
To right, pretty well hit. Joyce goes back, and it's over his head, and it bounces off the top of the wall. Morrison to second, and he'll stop there. That's a start.
That's a good start. Somebody told him it was April. The line drive. He hit a couple of those the other night, but they were caught for outs. So it's a great feeling. Number one, he worked the count. He got in a good hitter's count, 3-1. That's half the battle. The second part of the battle is to then put a good swing on a 3-1 pitch, and he did that too.
So Morrison in scoring position. And here is Gabby Sanchez, his first at bat since coming back from AAA. One of the things that the Marlins felt hurt Gabby was being over aggressive. And when he went down to AAA, they wanted to see him work the count, get back to being that selective hitter that he always was, whether it was at the University of Miami or coming up in the Marlins organization. He was always a guy with a high on-base percentage, worked the count, was a gap-to-gap hitter.
Boy, and he did that well when he went down to AAA. Had 16 walks, he had an on-base percentage of .494.
Shields has fed him a couple of changeups. It's 0-2.
He's had success against the Rays. He's had success against James Shields.
You saw those numbers. 5 for 10. Zobrist creeping in to keep Morrison close. The Marlins 2 for their last 32 with runners in scoring position. 0-2 coming. Little dribbler, and it's a fair ball. Nice play by Lobaton. Morrison ends up at third base. And Sanchez is out number 2. Here comes Chris Coghlan.
Change up off the end of the bat. Gabby couldn't pick it up right away. He wasn't sure if it was fair or foul. But Lobaton did pick it up and made a very nice play.
Here's Chris Coghlan. You know, so much has been made of the Marlins' struggles after Giancarlo Stanton and the bottom of the order. One guy that nobody has talked about that the Marlins, I think, have really missed, and that is Emilio Bonifacio. Because when the Marlins moved him down to the 7 spot, he provided a real spark to that bottom of the order. Coghlan takes a fastball up. Bonifacio made 9 starts in the 7 spot, and the Marlins were 6-3 in those ball games.
That's when he was flip-flopped by Ozzie with Omar Infante.
Here's the 1-0. Coghlan right now 0 for 4 in this series, and his average has dipped to 155. Morrison, a 1-out double. He resides at third, but Shields with 2 outs misses away. Now Coghlan has decent numbers against Shields. He's 5 for 12 with a couple of doubles. Look at the matchup tomorrow night.
Boy, that's going to be a beauty.
Josh Johnson, Josh Beckett. And Coghlan working the count right now to 3-1.
Yeah, Shields knows he has the righty on deck. Brett Hayes, I'm not so sure Chris Coghlan will see a real good pitch to hit here, 3-1. Probably not the pitch that Logan Morrison saw, 3-1.
He walked him, and Coghlan's aboard, and here comes Hayes now. So the Marlins have at least extended Shields much more than they did the first inning. He threw 6 pitches in the first inning, and he's thrown 21 here in the second.
With the little tap out off the bat of Gabby Sanchez on this homestand now, going back to the first game of the Braves series, the Marlins are 3 for 40 with runners in scoring position.
Hayes takes a strike. Logan Morrison a double. Chris Coghlan a 2-out walk. And Hayes sends one up into the seats.
And Rich, things over the last 5 games have been going so poorly for the Marlins. The Marlins' wives lost the softball game yesterday to the Rays' wives.
Oh, they got smoked.
Yeah. After a win last year.
Though it did raise a lot of money for charity. 14-2. The Marlins' wives were just 1 for 17 with runners in scoring position. Here's the 0-2. Struck him out outside corner. Shields dispatches Brett Hayes, and the Marlins leave 2 on and trail this ball game 1-0.
Marlins lost to the Rays, but at least in that softball game, the Marlin wives came out victors. Unfortunately, that was not the same story yesterday, though. Money raised for some great charities. The 2 clubs were ready. The Rays seemed very hungry in this game. The Marlins lost some big bats. Judy Sanchez, pregnant, not there. Mrs. Sanchez, Mrs. Mujica couldn't play. The Rays were diving all over the place. Sarah Badenhop, a big loss, too, for the Marlins, going over with Burke Badenhop to the Rays. She had a big year last year. And the Rays won by the final of 14-2. So Sarah may become the first wife to win on both teams in back-to-back years in the history of the Citrus Bowl softball style.
That could be a little trivia in the next few years.
The Marlins,
very little.
You know, it's been reported that the Marlins actually tried to keep Mrs. Badenhop. However, it was a package deal. Both hoppers left. Popped up. Infante is there, and he makes the catch. Greg?
And one little update, too. I was talking to Mark Burley today, and unfortunately his wife, Jamie, was playing first base and took a little, just a throw from the infield, but burst around her thumb. She's got a little black and blue thumb. And he said it happened immediately. They're just not used to playing every day. They didn't know it was this tough, guys.
And you know, and we were told she's day to day.
Yes.
Carlos Pena now. For Anibal Sanchez, the Rays run came in the first. A walk to Pena. What's new? That's his 5th walk of this series. And he takes outside. And then B.J. Upton rifled a double in the gap. Left center field off the base of the wall. And Pena scored in front of the relay of Omar Infante. 1-0.
This guy just doesn't swing at anything out of the strike zone.
As we said on Friday, with Pena, you throw out the batting average. You don't even worry that he's hitting 201. You look for production. Driven in 26, 8 homers, 9 doubles. And you look for his on-base percentage, and it's at 350. You would think the on-base percentage is going to come up, and the Rays are hopeful that the production climbs as well.
Well, you look at his average over the last 5 years. 34 home runs, 97 RBIs. They're hoping for maybe not quite that much, but some of that.
Goes after a fastball and fouls it out of play. It's 3-2.
Pena had that incredible year in 2007 with the Rays. Here's a look since 2008, what he's done. In 2007, he had 46 home runs. He was a comeback player of the year.
And he strikes out, though he has a brief word for Chad Fairchild. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Miami Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. Breaking ball to B.J. Upton, and he swings through it. And it's 0-1. He didn't miss the pitch in the first inning. A loud double, and that's the difference in the ball game. 1-0.
A nice groove that Anibal Sanchez is getting in now.
.94 on that fastball, and you see the run it had.
When he's on, and we talk about it all the time, it's hard for him to throw a ball straight. That one ran in on the hands.
Hayes out from behind the plate makes an easy play to get Upton. First 1-2-3 inning for Anibal Sanchez. Still 1-0. Games at 7:10 on Wednesday. All fans in attendance get a drawstring bag courtesy of MLB Network. Get your tickets now, 1-877 Marlins, or go to marlins.com. As we told you, the series opens tomorrow night with a terrific pitching matchup. Josh Johnson and Josh Beckett.
Do you think we'll see Big Papi at first base in one game, maybe?
I believe he played in their earlier interleague matchup. He played one game at first base, so who knows? Good to see your old friend Bobby Valentine. You guys were together in the Dodgers organization as young players, weren't you?
Good friend Jerry Royster, third base coach.
Yeah, he is a good guy.
Yeah, saw Bobby come up when he was an 18, 19-year-old in AAA.
Here's the 1-1. Sanchez trying to drop down a bunt, pops it foul. Sanchez has been trying that for the last 2 or 3 starts that he's had.
He's actually tried it a couple of times with 2 strikes. Because of that, we did have a tweet or an email last Tuesday. Was there anything wrong with possibly his left shoulder, and he doesn't want to swing the bat.
He's way out of the baseline, and the throw gets him anyways. But if the throw had hit him or had been into the runner, he would have been out. He was like 5 feet on the grass.
That does pose an interesting question, though. He hasn't swung the bat for the last 2 or 3 starts, and we haven't seen him do this a lot. He's not a great hitter, but to see him pretty much every time up there try to drop down a bunt for a base hit brings up a question.
Well, we'll have to get an answer. Reyes takes inside. And it's 1-0. I think we lobbed that question at somebody, not Sanchez directly, a week and a half ago, and we were told no, nothing wrong with it.
We'll have to lob it a little harder.
Yes. Well, we got to go either to the source or to other avenues. Reyes bounced out his first time up. Shields 1-1 pitch. And Jose knocks it foul. Reyes hitting at 279. There's Randy St. Clair, Marlins pitching coach. Now in the 4th inning, Tommy will be leaving for St. Petersburg, and will end up in the Rays television booth with Dwayne Stats. Brian Anderson will join us, Rays analyst.
And it will be you get a little preview. It'll be you and Brian Anderson next Saturday in St. Pete for the game on Fox.
That one is inside, and it's 3-2.
So this would be like a little warm-up.
It will be. Well, we got to.
You've done it before.
Yeah, we've
spring training
games. We've worked a couple of spring training games. BA, as he's known. 3-2. Reyes gets a fastball and drills it to center field. Upton. He's there. And he makes the catch. There are 2 outs here in the 3rd inning. If you want to come to the ballpark in luxury and give your group a VIP treatment, the Fiesta Suites at Marlins Park are a way to do it. Fiesta Suites offer the suite experience on a single game basis and feature an all-inclusive menu, premium seats, flat screen TVs, air conditioned comfort, and more. 1-877 Marlins, the number to call. Infante flied to left. Shields spins one up there and misses in. It's 1-1.
Omar Infante with a 3-hit night, the first game of this series. Boy, last year James Shields went 7 or more innings. Of course, we told you he had 11 complete games, but 7 or more innings, 28 starts.
2-2.
That's a comfortable feeling for a manager. And Joe Madden knows he can send him out there, not have to worry about that bullpen too much. Lately, though, that hasn't been the case with Shields.
He doesn't have a complete game this year. He had more complete games last year than 26 major league teams. Infante strikes out. All right, Hut, have a nice trip next door.
I see you, Rich.
Rich Waltz, joined now by Brian Anderson, analyst on Rays television. Certainly you've enjoyed your 2-day stay here in Miami. The Rays are hot right now, and
Yes.
certainly the Marlins are not.
No, they're not. And it's been a rough 5 games when you look over just the numbers. I mean, it's one thing to have a 5-game losing streak, but in the manner in which that it's happened, Atlanta really tore through the Marlins. And
Matt Joyce tears through that ball, deep center field. Back goes Coughlin. It's gone. And Matt Joyce, his 2nd home run of the series, his 11th of the season, and the Rays stretch their lead to 2-0. And all of a sudden, the Rays are starting to get production out of that 3 and 4 spot in their order.
well, and it's ever changing, but Ray's always looking, trying to find a way to get production anywhere in the lineup. And Matt Joyce, boy, good extension on that fastball. He drives it out, and if you're going to hit it out that part of the ballpark, you have got to get a hold of it. 418 out there in center. A little bit of right center there. It's a big, expansive outfield.
Ben Zobrist now, and Zobrist went out twice in last night's ball game. You and Dick Stockton, I'm sure, had a fun time last night.
It was an interesting ball game, that's to say the least. But Ben Zobrist, he was up in New York. Batting average had dipped below 200. Was working extra work with Derek Shelton, working on trying to quicken up his hands a little bit, trying to get his body out of the way of his swing. And I thought that on Friday night, he had 2 hits, but one of them was the other way. And anytime you see a hitter wait back, trust his hands, hit that ball the other way, you start to think maybe good things are right around the corner. And then, of course, he has the big breakout game last night.
Well, the Rays have done a very nice job of not only treading water, but right now 2 games over 500 without Evan Longoria. And Longoria, it is hoped, will be back in 7 to 10 days. Up the middle and through the box and into center field. Zobrist has his 6th hit of the series.
Well, that's another good sign. For Ben Zobrist, he's waiting back on that breaking ball, taking it back up the middle, and this has not been the norm for the Rays. It's pretty amazing that they have the best record in the American League, and the manner in which they've done it, because the hitting has not been up to snuff. They've always prided themselves on the on-base percentage, which hasn't been as high as in years past, not scoring as many runs, obviously. And the defense has not been very good. But the pitching, bullpen, starters, that's been the name of the game, and that's why they're in this position. It just goes to show you that if you can put out a dominant pitching staff, you can survive a lot of ebbs and flows through the season when it comes to your offense and defense.
Jose Lobaton now, switch hitting catcher. Zobrist away from first. And Sanchez throws a strike. And it's 0-2. The Rays have the Mets for 3. The Marlins will be over in St. Pete next weekend for 3. And then it's on to Washington and on to Philly. And the Marlins get 6 games against Boston starting tomorrow night with the Josh Beckett-Josh Johnson matchup. The Blue Jays will be in here at the end of the 12-game stretch of Rays and Red Sox.
It does not get any easier.
It doesn't get easy for any teams in the East, National League or American League, and it's been interesting to watch through the first couple of days of this stretch where everyone's playing each other. The Braves have won 2 in a row against Toronto. The Nationals have won 2 in a row in Boston. But the Yankees have beaten the Mets twice. The Rays have beaten the Marlins twice. And the Phillies and Baltimore have split. So everyone's dead even going into this Sunday.
And you talk about those 2 divisions and see how everybody's bunched up, and that's what you would figure, just beating up on each other.
That's closer. Sanchez has improved his move to first. He's not James Shields-like, certainly, but he almost got Zobrist there.
And you see Ben going back to that outside corner. The tag by Sanchez. Very close.
1-2. Zobrist is running, swing and a miss. Hayes' throw into the runner and into right center field. Zobrist doesn't see it. Late start, and he's going to get to third.
That throw from Brett Hayes hit Ben Zobrist right on the hand. Getting out of that crouch quick. right across the knuckles, it looks like.
Another look. Tough pitch to throw on.
Yep, you got to come all the way up, and that ball sails a little bit and catches him right on the right hand.
Well, we saw Freddie Freeman of the Braves the other night get hurt on a double play throw when he was sliding into second with his hand up. But importantly for the Rays, they moved the runner to third with just one out, and now they look to Elliott Johnson to drive it in, and he will with that. It's deep to right. Stanton goes back, and Johnson has hit it out. My goodness. Elliott Johnson, who had 4 hits last night, just his 4th home run of the season. And the Rays adding on here. They make it 4-0.
Well, Joe Madden has said about Elliott Johnson that he thought he was playing a little bit too much, starting to get beat down a little bit mentally. So he gives him a day or two as a breather, and then he comes back in a big way, and right there, able to drive the ball out of the ballpark. And that's one thing about Elliott Johnson. I mean, he's a guy that, you know, is a part-time player. You put him out there for a week, he can surprise you. But he does all the little facets of the game. He's just a little bit better than you think. That's kind of the way you describe Elliott Johnson. He runs a little bit better than you think. He can steal bags. He'll show that power, be able to get the ball and hit it out of the ballpark. Switch hitter, does a pretty nice job of handling the bat from both sides. You know, a player that fits the Rays' way of doing things very, very well.
You know, the Marlins, it's such a cool game. The Marlins were the Rays were a first-place team right now. The Marlins were a first-place team 5 days ago. They had climbed the mountain and had a great May. 0-1 pitch. And Rodriguez bounces it to short. Reyes fires it across. And now the Marlins have dropped 5 in a row, and it almost feels like they'll never win another game. It's the same feeling that the Braves had when they had dropped 8 in a row. AT&T brings you the trivia question. Who holds the Rays record for games pitched in a single season? You got to think durable middle reliever. Fastball strike. James Shields, who I'm sure was excited to swing the bat. Oh, goodness. Sanchez made the catch on a liner right back at him. But a big inning for Elliott Johnson and the Rays, a 4-0 lead. Anderson of Rays Television has joined us, and the Rays looking like the team the Marlins have seen the first 2 games of this series. Matt Joyce and Elliott Johnson both hitting home runs in the 4th, and now you hand a 4-0 lead to a guy like James Shields. The Marlins have run into this a couple times in this losing streak where they've seen a starting pitcher that has not pitched well. Tim Hudson had not pitched well, and he was dominant against the Fish. Mike Minor had not pitched well. He beat the Marlins wearing a Braves uniform, and now Shields comes in off of 2 shaky outings, and he looks his own bad self against the Marlins. 2 complete game wins last year. Didn't give up an earned run in either of those. He gave it 1 earned run. Here's Hanley now. Hanley, Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton, Logan Morrison against Shields in the 4th.
Now, what has done James Shields in the last couple of starts where he hasn't put up very good lines is the big inning. Has not been able to limit that big inning. Would cruise along and then get hit with a 3, 4, 5 run inning.
Marlins had a 1-out double from Logan Morrison in the 2nd and could not get him home.
Well, that's been the big issue for this Marlins team. I mean, they've had their opportunities. That other night, you know, Jeremy Hellickson, how many times you see a guy go 4 1/3, 5 hits, 7 walks, and you score 1 run off him? I mean, opportunities all over the place. Just not been able to get it done.
Shields has missed badly with 2 breaking balls to Hanley Ramirez. The count is 2-1. Hanley drives that ball left center field, hits it pretty well. Upton going back and in cruise mode. When he slows down, you can tell that he's got the ball. He's not one of those outfielders that streaks to it and stops. Once he slows down, you know he's got it in his sights.
He's a pretty easy read. You're absolutely right. The speed that he's been gifted with, pretty incredible. I mean, and he plays a shallow center field, maybe a little bit deeper here because of how big this outfield is. But notorious playing a shallow center field. He goes back on the ball very well. And you're right, he breaks it down and makes the catch.
Here's Giancarlo Stanton, and he takes a strike. Your first chance in this 3-game series to see this new ballpark. What are your thoughts? What have you seen? Stanton pops it up. That should be an easy play for either Zobrist or Joyce. And it's Zobrist. Contractually obligated to do trivia before you answer that question.
Go right ahead. All
right. Do you have any guess on this one? I don't.
I know who may break it this year, and that's Joel Peralta, because he is up and throwing all the time.
Rays record for games pitched in a season. Schroeder.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we get that a lot. All right, what do you think of this new ballpark?
Well, I'll tell you what, colorful. I mean, this has South Florida written all over it. I love the retractable roof with the grass field. You know, I got the chance to play for Arizona. I was part of that expansion draft, and having, you know, Bank One ballpark at the time, same thing. It's great because even with the roof closed, you don't feel like you're playing baseball indoors, and that's what you like about it, and the intimacy of it. You're right on top of the action if you're a fan. They didn't overdo it with the capacity.
Hyundai bring you Fox Tracks this Sunday. 1-1 to Morrison.
But yeah, but coming over from, you know, Tropicana Field over in Tampa, you get a little jealous. Like I liked one of these over on the other side.
That really is the last piece of the puzzle for the Rays organization,
yeah,
isn't it?
Yep. And you know, I'm sure it's going to be a difficult process, something they continue to work towards. I'll tell you something else I love are the windows out in left field. That's outstanding, looking right out into the city.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. And Morrison rolls over on it. Pena, such a good first baseman. Brian Anderson, the time was short, but I'll see you next Saturday.
Yes, you will. It'll be good times.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Right?
Guaranteed.
So far, not so good for the Fish.
4-0. Let's check in with Craig Minervini.
All right, I'm with Captain Rick Murphy and Jennifer Reeves, the host of the Chevy Florida Inside Fishing Report. Back and better than ever, Captain, yes?
Yeah, we're back, and it's been a great season so far. We got Jennifer Reeves as our new co-host, and the great thing about Jennifer is not only is she a fisherman, but she's a meteorologist by trade. So obviously fishing and the weather is a huge part of what we experience here in Florida, and she's a great addition to the show.
And knowing the weather, then you must have even better hot spots than in past years.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a key trick on words, hot spots. Definitely we have that as part of all our 9 regional captains that give us their recommendations every year. Every week as to what they want to go fish for.
How much fun are you having on the show, Jennifer?
I love it. I'm in heaven. This is a dream job for me. I love fishing. I've been fishing for about 5 or 6 years, and from Louisiana, so bringing the redfish and trout and all of that down here, and I'm learning so much from Captain Rick and all the rest of the captains. We have a great show. The state's divided into 9 different regions, so we have a different captain for each region, and we're just having a blast. Catch
any neat fish this year?
Of course. I caught my first tarpon, my first shark, my first snook. I caught a big tuna, so I'm getting into the saltwater fishing, and it has been so much fun.
Now, what's the biggest tip you can give somebody out there, the lay fisherman?
Well, I think the big thing is using the fishing report, you can certainly plan your weekend. The key to fishing in Florida is knowing what to fish for at the right time, because we have all these migrational species. So that's the whole cool thing, and that's why they need to watch the Chevy Florida Fishing Report. And more importantly, how cool is it, Greg, that we have the Marlins and the Rays, both our Florida teams, named after fishes?
That's a great point. And if you go to a Rays game, they have the Rays out in right center field. I don't think we have a Marlin. Well, we do on the home run sculpture.
Well, we got lots of Marlins all in the seats here, man. You know that. So that's cool.
There are plenty of fish here. Have you run into any big fish? And is the summer fishing, is it not as good because it's warm, or is it even? How does it play winter-wise and season-wise?
Well, the summer fishing this year has been epic because of having such a warm winter. It started early. It's been an extended season. Other than the hard winds that we had in March, we've had really a great April, May, and June. But let me tell you what just happened in the Florida Keys last week, which is really great fishing news, is they caught a 1,000-pound bull shark, and we didn't think bull sharks got up over 400 pounds.
I thought it was 400 or 500 max.
1,000-pounder, Greg, and that's what's really neat is the more we learn about fishing, the more we realize we don't know.
The more you want to learn, you watch the Chevy Florida Inside Fishing Report. Captain Rick Murphy and Jennifer Reeves doing a great job on Sun Sports, right?
Absolutely.
All right, guys, back to you. 1,000 pounds.
I'm calling bull shark.
Yeah, that's try to say that 3 times in a row.
Carlos Pena's up. There's nobody out. It's the 5th, and for the Marlins, it's more of the same so far in this ball game. The fish are on an epic dry spell that I'm sure Captain Rick has never had. 5 straight losses. The Marlins, in the 5 losses, have been outscored 39-8.
Well, right now with the 4-0 lead for the Rays, 43-8 to this point.
There's a blast to right field. Stanton goes back at the track, at the wall, and he makes the catch. The Rays have already hit 2 out to right field. Matt Joyce and Elliott Johnson.
The Rays are showing the Marlins something they have that the Marlins to this point lack, and that's power from the left side. With Logan Morrison's struggle, I mean, they've gotten home runs from left-handers. Joyce and Johnson's a switch hitter, but home runs from guys on the left side of the plate.
Zobrist, the switch hitter, homered from that side of the plate last night. Here is Upton, RBI double, and he has bounced out. When Brian Anderson was here briefly, boy, that was a quick 4th inning. Is that contractual? You guys set it up that way?
Yeah, we start getting testy if it goes a little longer than that, contractually.
Well, while he was here, we were talking about the National League East, the American League East, and the records of the series so far, because everybody in the National League East is playing everybody from the American League East this weekend. And that will continue pretty much for the next week and a half. The Nationals have scored first against Boston. 1-0, top of the third. The Nationals have won the first two of that series with Steven Strasburg and Hialeah's own Gio Gonzalez getting the wins. So the Nationals are winning. The Mets actually have a 3-0 lead over the Yankees in the bottom of the fourth. The Phillies, who have split with Baltimore so far, are up 3-1 bottom second. Atlanta, who so far has 2-0 against Toronto, is up 2-0 bottom of the third in Atlanta.
There you talked about Gio Gonzalez upping his record to 8-2 with a nice 2.35 ERA.
Time out for Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof Stat. BJ Upton since May. Look at the numbers. His 26 hits, leads the ball club. Just as the Rays count on Upton, you can count on Just for Men Auto Stop for foolproof results. Pitch fouled out of play.
Upton right now with a 7-game hitting streak. Made it 7 with his RBI double in the first inning.
Runner goes, little hit and run, and a broken bat flare into right field. B.J. Upton dumps it into right with Desmond Jennings on the move, and the Rays pushing all the right buttons as well in this series.
Everything clicking for the Tampa Bay Rays. 2 strikes on him. He doesn't really have to swing at this, but he sees that huge hole on the right side. That, to me, that's great situational hitting. Saw that hole open there off the end of the bat, didn't have to hit it hard, and he found the hole and chased the runner over to third base, Desmond Jennings.
And now here is Joyce, who blasted one into the seats in right center field. Home plate umpire Chad Fairchild is headed over to the Rays dugout and is pointing to a fan. And I'm not sure. A camera. Someone was shooting. It is not our camera. It is not the Rays camera. It's a rogue cameraman, Tommy, who is loose. And the umpire shut him down. Quiet on the set. Here's the pitch, and Joyce takes up. Matt Joyce, the Tampa native. This has got to be a fun ride for him. Florida Southern. An all-star last season. And he's looked like an all-star in this series. Breaking ball up and in. Cholula hot sauce on this Sunday. Spotlight player. Bats left. Throws, eats, rights, and golfs right hand.
And shakes the Cholula hot sauce out with the right hand.
2-0 pitch. Pulled on the ground. Sanchez has it. There's one, and there's two. Gabby Sanchez brings a very good glove with him, and he's back, and he makes a nice 3-6-1 double play.
WhatsApp por Toyota.
Cookie and Raul join us now.
What's up, Rich? Tommy, how you doing?
You know, things could be a lot better. Let me just put it that way. Things could be better.
I hear you.
Yes, sir. I'll tell you, we're facing good pitching from the Rays, and the amount of home runs have been hit here from the opposition has been amazing.
Yeah, the ball carries great here, doesn't it? I mean,
that AC helps out.
Yes. I mean, Atlanta, you ask Jason Hayward or Matt Joyce or Ben Zobrist how they think the ball carries in this ballpark. They'll tell you great.
Absolutely.
Elliot Johnson is right there with them, too.
Hey, the Marlins have been out homered 10-3 on this homestand.
Most of the balls that we hit very hard are through center field. These guys pull the ball a little bit more, so they got more success out of it.
Popped up, and Johnson makes the catch.
In looking at balls, Cookie, that have been hit here, it appears maybe it's just because we've seen some lefties with some power, but it appears, because watching Hanley every once in a while deep left center, that left-handers have a little bit of an advantage.
I would agree with that 100%, Tommy, because you have those right-handed pitchers on the mound, and left-hander get the advantage of that. If you pull the ball down the line from the 392 over to the foul line, and then in left field 344, you got a better chance of, if you got the power to do that, you know, you're gonna have more chances of hitting the ball out of the ballpark. But when you're talking about center field, we've seen balls hit even from Stanton and from Highland Ramirez way out in center field, and they don't go anywhere. So, but when you have that kind of power, like a Stanton is the only one that can go ahead and drive that ball consistently over there for home runs.
And the left-handed bats for the Marlins, you've had Logan Morrison struggling, Chris Coughlin really not considered a power hitter, and Jose Reyes, when he's up there left-handed, more of a line drive guy.
I think that ideally you would like to see another left-handed hitter with power that can protect Mike Stanton in the lineup. I believe that Logan Morrison right now is trying to get his average up, and he's trying to get more line drive than he does trying to hit for the long ball.
In foul territory, Desmond Jennings runs down that Chris Coughlin fly ball. All right, guys, if the Marlins lose 6 in a row, we're blaming it all on you.
Okay.
Let's win it, okay? So that way you don't have to do that.
All right.
All right, guys.
Take care, guys.
Okay, Cookie and Raul. And here is Brett Hayes. Hayes struck out back in the second. Shields getting the strikeout. The Marlins had runners at the corners with 2 outs. That's their best opportunity to get on the board in this one. And Hayes pops it up. Zobrist calling for it, and he makes the catch. That's the second 6-pitch inning for James Shields. Been a lopsided event for sure. The Rays winners in the first two and up right now 4-0 in the sixth. This July, don't miss the biggest event of the summer. Baseball's greatest stars battle for home field advantage in the Fall Classic. The road to the World Series begins with the 2012 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. July 10th, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, only on Fox. Back to work, Anibal Sanchez and Ben Zobrist is there. That same shot you just saw of the probable All-Stars on your screen, adjusted on MLB.com. If you go to MLB.com, they have added some National League stars to that photo. Giancarlo Stanton and Melky Cabrera, the latest additions.
Well, and why not? They both should be there, so continue to vote. Get them out there, and it'd be nice to have Giancarlo voted in. You know, he's probably going to make the team if things continue. He'll be selected, but boy, it'd be nice to have him voted in.
Zobrist flips that one to left field, and it's going to fall for a base hit. Morrison picks it up. Zobrist now with 7 hits in this series. He's a mere 7 for 10.
Yeah, I'll say he enjoys this ballpark. He'll be one of those guys when the Rays go on to play and play in other ballparks, American League ballparks, after interleague is over, and they'll say, hey, what was that Marlins park like? Oh, it was a great park to hit in. Loved it.
Here is Jose Lobaton. Well, maybe the Marlins need to get back on the road. You remember, it was that road trip out west that jump-started May. They won 8 of 9.
That's a frustrating thing, though. They started playing really well here at home
in May.
Yeah,
you're right. Swept the Nationals here. Sanchez goes 2-1 on Lobaton. And the Braves just keep adding on runs against Toronto. 4-0 in the fourth. Up the middle, Infante, Reyes with the turn. Corona Light wants you to find your beach this summer with the Marlins. Corona Light is offering 6 lucky Marlin fans the chance to win 4 tickets in a Fiesta Suite for an upcoming game at Marlins Park. Just go to your local participating retailer and look for the Corona Light display for details on how to enter and win. Relax responsibly.
Yeah, the Braves scoring off lefty Ricky Romero, and of course our guy Matt Diaz chipping in a double, has a couple of hits.
Braves are going for a series sweep in that one. Phillies 3-1 over Baltimore in the bottom of the third. Phillies going for a series win in that one. First two have been split. The Mets trying to salvage a game against the Yankees and savage the Yankees at the same time. It's 3-0 Mets in the bottom of the fifth. Here it's all Rays. 4-0 Tampa Bay, bottom 6. pass. These are the two big swings for the Rays. That one, Matt Joyce leading off the 4th inning. 3 hitters later, Elliott Johnson. The cold hard blast, side by side.
Look at the location of those two pitches as you watch the swings from those two hitters. Pitches up and right out over the plate.
Well, the Marlins here in the bottom of the 6th inning are going to pull the plug on Anibal Sanchez. And Justin Ruggiano comes up. Swing and a miss. And a James Shields changeup. And it's 0-1. Ruggiano, a 3-run home run in the 6th inning against Matt Moore in the 13-4 loss yesterday.
Ruggiano, one of the real bright spots in the game last night, had that home run, also doubled in the game, and has been a bright spot ever since his arrival.
Hammers that ball to left, and Ruggiano just keeps on hitting. And the former Ray is on his way to second base. For the Marlins, just their second hit of the ball game against Shields, and both of them have been doubles. Morrison with 1 out in the 2nd, and Ruggiano leading off the 6th.
Boy, every time he's gotten an opportunity, he has come through. Another pretty swing by Ruggiano, takes it down the line, and a leadoff double is a good way to start things. And then you get it started with the top of the order.
Now you've got Reyes with Infante and Hanley Ramirez to follow. Reyes has bounced out, flied out. Shields has thrown 64 pitches, 5 innings, a walk and 3 strikeouts. Reyes to right. Joyce goes back at the track, squares himself, makes the catch. Ruggiano will tag and is on his way to third base.
And we were waiting a while to give you the scouting report on the 30-year-old right-hander, brought to you by Coventry Healthcare. Lots of motion. You watch his delivery, and he's a big guy, 6'4", outstanding changeup. We've seen that. We've seen the cutters and a few sliders. But James Shields is a tremendous pitcher. Over the last 5 years, he's number 6 in the major leagues in innings pitched, though he's also been very durable.
Omar Infante 0 for 2. Infield's back, ground ball, runner coming home. Ruggiano's caught in a rundown. Rodriguez chasing him to the plate, and he is out. Infante gets to second. I was just about to say infield back except for Rodriguez, who was halfway at third. And that ground ball does not score the run.
Well, I think 2 things happen. You're the runner at third. Let's watch Ruggiano. He doesn't go on contact. You either do or you don't. And I'm not sure what the call was from the bench. Do you go on contact? If you don't go on contact, then you can't get thrown out at the plate. If you're going on contact, that's going to happen. I would imagine with the score 4-0, it might not have been.
And the Ramirez takes outside. So the Marlins, even when they get a guy at third base with 1 out, can't get him in. And to add to the injury of it, the insult of that runner is thrown out at the plate. Here's the 1-0. Hanley fouls it out of play.
If Ruggiano were going on contact, the way Rodriguez had to kind of feel that ball on his side, more than likely he would have gone to first base to get the out, because the score's 4-0. He's going to take it out and give up a run. But once he saw Ruggiano hesitate, then he had him in the rundown.
Hanley takes a fastball for a strike, and it's 1-2. So a pinch hit double is erased. Fonte still out there at second, but there are 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. Shields is really cruising. 69 pitches.
He's had those 2 6-pitch innings, and that's really helped him.
See that pitch range right in the middle is that changeup that he throws, and it's been very effective.
It was a note we had. The only guy who threw more changeups last year was Mark Burley.
Shields ready and misses away. Counts 3-2. There's Burley.
I'm going to guess talking a little pitching with Ricky Nolasco.
Mark Burley will get a start in Game 2 of the Red Sox series against Clay Buchholz. Tomorrow night, Josh Johnson, Josh Beckett to open the series. Full count. Here it comes. A little tapper foul. The Rays starting pitching has carried them throughout the season. Last night, Matt Moore, not his best of outings, but when your team scores 13 runs, you don't need to be on your A game. He had a 6-inning, 4-run ball game, though he did strike out 9. Jeremy Hellickson wasn't all that sharp on Friday, but his bullpen bailed him out. Shields has been in control from the very start in this one. Hyundai bringing you the spray chart.
I think, Rich, the Hellickson game was the most frustrating. He walked 7, Hellickson did, gave up 5 hits in his 4 1/3, and the Marlins scored just 1 run.
One of the things the Rays have done very well, starters and relievers, is pitch around and pitch carefully to this man, Giancarlo Stanton. And the Marlins have been unable to help him both in front of Stanton and behind him in the lineup.
Tough to pitch around him here, because I don't think James Shields wants to load the bases and get to Morrison. But he started Stanton off with a good changeup.
Buries that one. The count's 1-1. 14 home runs, 17 doubles for Stanton. Fonte at second, Hanley Ramirez at first. And a strike.
Boy, that's his go-to pitch, that changeup.
B.J. Upton plays as shallow a center field as you'll see against Giancarlo Stanton. He's a guy that normally plays a shallow center field. He goes back on the ball so well. But it's odd to look up and see a center fielder that close with Stanton at the plate.
One thing Giancarlo has to be ready for, he's seen lots of changeup. Remember, in the 2nd inning, he was called out on a fastball that was pretty much middle of the plate.
2-2. A fastball that missed in. And now the count is 3-2.
See if he goes with that go-to changeup.
The Marlins have been desperate for runs, desperate for a big hit with runners in scoring position for the last 5 ball games. 3-2 coming. Breaks his bat and pulls it into the dugout.
And I think sometimes when you get in that desperate mode, you chase pitches. That pitch off the plate looked like it was ball 4, but a tough one to lay off of.
In the last 52 innings, the Marlins have scored all of 8 runs. Stanton sits at 42. Crowd trying to get the offense going. 3-2 again. Fouled again.
Yeah, the Marlins fans are dying. They're hungry for something to happen. They haven't had a whole lot to cheer about.
It was a ball club that 5 days ago sat in a first-place tie with the Washington Nationals atop the East. Didn't hit against Atlanta, lost 3. Haven't hit against the Rays and have lost 2. 3-2 again to Stanton. Got him. And it's that changeup, the calling card of James Shields, that gets Stanton. And it's still 4-0 Rays.
Watch out. Watch
Careful.
out. Yep.
Careful. Careful there, little Jose. Let's go out to Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, it's always a fun event. Dogs of all sizes, up to 800 are here. This is for the Miami-Dade Humane Society. They'll have one also coming up for Broward. This is Justice. I don't know if you can get a look at his shirt there, but he's got an Infante shirt on. How large is this shirt?
It's actually an extra large shirt.
Male shirt.
Yes.
and he is going after the pizza box right now. Tell us about your dog. He's a big fan. He's a Great Dane. How much does he weigh?
He weighs 120 pounds. He's 11 months, so he's got a lot of growing to do.
Big Marlin fan. He watches the games up there in Tallahassee.
Yeah, huge Marlins fan. We always catch it, and it's just he's actually his first dog bark at the park, so we're kind of excited. He's loving it. I mean, it's a great experience.
Has he met little Gracie yet? Gracie is 4 pounds here. Maybe turn to the camera. And Justice is 120 pounds. Would he be too large as a potential mate for your dog?
Oh, she might be a little scared. She might be a little scared, but she could deal with it. She could deal with it.
Well, tell us, this is Tracy from the Miami-Dade Humane Society.
Lori.
This is your, Lori, I'm sorry. And this is your event, and it's a great event.
This is our event. We've been doing this for about 10 years, and it's so amazing to see all these people with their dogs from 4 pounds to 120 pounds. It's amazing.
The tickets for the adults, for the kids, $15, but the $10 dog ticket goes right to the Humane Society.
All go to the Humane Society. So it's great that the Marlins partner with us every year, and it really helps out the animals. So we're really appreciative.
And they're doing another event. I think it's July 29th, if I'm not mistaken, for the Broward County Humane Society.
Exactly. Because this stadium is so much more crowded, so they had to separate us. So tonight is for Miami-Dade, and July 29th is for Broward.
The dogs really seem to be behaving very well here.
I know, it's amazing. There's no barking. They know when to be quiet, and there's no dog fighting. And it's just fabulous to see people with their dogs in the dog park.
Turn around to the camera again. You see a nice Marlin shirt there. That's not an adult extra large, is it?
No, it's a little puppy extra small.
All right, we're having fun here with Justice here. It was my vote for the biggest Marlins dog so far. Guys, back to you.
He's already apparently consumed 3 little Jose dolls. Ryan Webb working with Sean Rodriguez at the plate. Up the middle. Fonte was playing him there. And he throws him out.
I noticed everybody very well behaved up there, Craig included.
So Anibal Sanchez goes 6 innings, and now Ryan Webb takes over. Marlins with a short start of Zambrano. 2 1/3 inning. Really had to go to the bullpen, and Ozzie had to use some guys he didn't want to use. One of those, especially Sandy Rosario, who had thrown 2 innings the night before. And Rosario, a closer in AAA, used to working just that 1 inning. He worked 2 the night before, and last night he got knocked around late, gave up 3 runs on 4 hits and didn't get it out.
That's always tough for a manager, and all managers a few times during the year have to do that. Have to go to a pitcher they'd probably like to stay away from.
Randy Choate and Steve Cishek worked last night as well. And Shields strikes out. So Webb has the first 2 outs of the 7th. At Marlins Park, you can see the Marlins and the park, and secure your seats through a variety of season ticket and mini plan options. Save money off the box office prices. Enjoy all the benefits of being a Marlins season ticket holder. Pick up your plan today, 1-877-MARLINS, or go to marlins.com. Now Desmond Jennings takes a breaking ball outside. Jennings walked back in the 5th. An 0 for 2 day so far. Red Sox have taken a 2-1 lead over the Nationals. That's in the top of the 5th. John Lester against Jordan Zimmerman in that ball game. Mets lead is holding up against the Yankees. 3-0 at Yankee Stadium. The Jonathan Neese start for the Mets.
Part of that Boston damage, by the way, a home run by David Ortiz, Big Papi.
Be interesting to see not only Big Papi if he plays at first, but to see Jared Saltalamacchia, a local kid, come back. He finally seems to have found his groove in the big leagues.
I believe more home runs right now than any American League catcher. Yeah, the first base position has actually been interesting for the Red Sox. They have Adrian Gonzalez playing there today, but he played right field in their game yesterday. Euclid was at first.
Now Gonzalez went into Bobby Valentine's office and volunteered for outfield duty because Will Middlebrooks had played so well at third, and with Euclid coming off the disabled list, Red Sox wanted to get both Middlebrooks and Euclid's bats in the lineup. Euclid is one of the best fielding first basemen in the history of the game, and of course Adrian Gonzalez has won multiple Gold Gloves as well. So it's hard to go wrong with either one of those guys.
And you'd like to have both of their bats in the lineup.
Jennings up, shoots a ground ball into left field, a base hit. And with his speed, he's a threat to run. With 2 outs here in the 7th. Tico brings you the National League East standings. The 5-game losing streak has cost the Marlins not only a share of first place, but also 4 games in the standings.
Yeah, that's the tough part. While the Marlins have been losing, the Nats have gotten hot. Atlanta has gotten hot once again after their 8-game losing streak.
They've won 6 in a row now.
The funny part about the standings, National League East and American League East, the Phillies at the beginning of the year were picked by most to win the division. And even in the American League East, a lot of people felt the Red Sox would win that division, and the Red Sox are in last place. I think it's going to be a back and forth thing all year.
Pena takes outside. Now Pena was born in Puerto Rico, but he was raised in Massachusetts. Moved there when he was 12. Played his college ball at Northeastern. If you've just joined us, so is Gabby Sanchez. You saw Gabby in your shot there. He's been called back up from AAA. The Marlins have designated Donnie Murphy for assignment. If no one claims him, he can report back to AAA with the Marlins. Or be free to sign with another ball club.
I think wherever Donnie Murphy goes, it needs to be a place where he can play a little bit and just, you know, try to get those skills back at multiple infield positions. Get his timing down as a hitter.
Desmond Jennings, the runner at first. Webb working at a deliberate pace, and the Marlins have pitched out twice.
Yeah, and I think that time Ryan Webb gave it away. He went to the plate differently than he usually does when he is actually pitching a ball.
And so Pena is tough enough to pitch to. Now you're behind in the count 2-0, and he's the type of guy that if you put one down the middle or inner half, he'll hit it in the seats. And he was swinging for the seats. That one is popped up foul. Count is 2-1. Warren Henry bringing you Fox Tracks.
This is always one of those matchups. You have a guy whose strength is two-seamers down in the zone, but you have a hitter who's a great low ball hitter.
Hold, and Gabby is there at first and steps on the bag. 7th inning stretch, all Rays, 4-0. By Bennett Auto Supply. Our prices bring you in, and our people bring you back. By 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy fixes tired fast. By Coventry Healthcare of Florida, lighting the way to better health. Great shots of downtown Miami. The cruise ships are in. The roof is closed here at Marlins Park, and our JM Lexus game reset. This is not a replay of an earlier telecast from this series. The Rays doing what they do best. They've created 4 runs. They've hit a couple of homers. Elliott Johnson and Matt Joyce. James Shields been dominant on the mound. He's given up just 2 hits, both of them doubles. And the Marlins find themselves in a 4-0 hole as they go to the bottom of the 7th here at Marlins Park. And Shields smelling a complete game, you suspect. The right-hander so good at doing just that last year. And even a Loviste from.
That's great, yeah. He's got it go. He's got it all going. He's got the red-orange jersey.
He's got the batting practice cap.
It's a Stanton jersey. He's got the BP cap. Got the glove ready for a foul ball.
He's got the pants going as well. With the belt, he's got the nice belt.
Oh, you like that? A complete outfit.
You wonder if he's got the stirrups and the spikes going. The Marlins try to solve Shields now. Logan Morrison, Gabby Sanchez, Chris Coghlan. Bottom 7. Rays bullpen not yet throwing, but guys starting to move around, loosen up a little bit. Shields at 82 pitches. Morrison's double was over the head of Matt Joyce in right. And the changeup for a strike. It's 1 ball and 1 strike. I almost had to do a double take when looking at Shields' numbers this year, when I saw a big 0 under complete games.
Yeah, after having thrown 11 last year.
And we noted that stat. He threw more complete games last year than 26 other major league teams.
Just under 250 innings last year for Shields.
Morrison drives that ball left center field. Upton on the run, reaches and won't get it. And off the wall it goes. Logan Morrison showing gap-to-gap power. And it's good to see. He's got a couple of doubles in the ball game.
Sometimes you give a player a couple of days off. Ozzie did that with Logan Morrison to just kind of clear things out, clear the thinking out, let him work on some stuff. One of the things he's working on is driving the ball that way. So a nice day today for Lomo with a couple of doubles. It's almost been like the kiss of death, though, Rich, for the Marlins, a leadoff double.
3 hits, 3 doubles. The second one to lead off an inning. Ruggiano doubled in the 6th. He moved up to 3rd on a fly ball out and then was thrown out at home on a ground ball. A 1-out double by Morrison in the 2nd was wasted as well. And the count's 0-1 to Gabby Sanchez. Sanchez down the left field line. That's going to be extra bases. Here comes Morrison. The Marlins have scored a run. How about that? And another double. And Gabby Sanchez. A 1-for-3 return. And he's in scoring position.
Gabby now 6 for 13 against James Shields, and that's a solid swing. And he would love to produce a whole lot more of those. And it's so important to have him get back on track, driving in Logan Morrison easily. So a couple of guys who the Marlins certainly need to produce in their offense have produced here with back-to-back doubles.
Now Coghlan. 4 hits, 4 doubles. Coghlan fouls it back. And the Rays bullpen a little more active now, though still nobody throwing. Jim Hickey on the horn, and somebody will start here quickly.
Here's a situation, Rich. It's the 7th inning. Would you love to have a 5 or 6 run inning? Absolutely. But if you're going to make an out here, you at least want to get Gabby Sanchez over to 3rd. You at least want to get another run in here and cut the lead in half.
Here's the 1-1. And it's up. Shields looking at his hand and kind of looking down at the ground after delivering that pitch. And it's 2-1.
And we talked earlier about Chris Coghlan having had success against James Shields. 5 for 13 in his career.
He's walked and flied out in this one, and Shields continues to fall off the mound after that delivery, and his catcher Jose Lobaton is out to look at it, and Joe Maddon's going to come out.
I think he wants to just see, I don't want this charge as a visit, I want to go talk to my pitcher. Or also possibly something to do with the mound, to have the mound checked where Shields is falling off.
Well, I will say this about the mound here at Marlins Park. All the reviews that we've heard about the mound have been very positive. Pitchers have liked throwing off this mound.
Yeah, no slip. He falls off that way anyway. Looks like he's rubbing the perspiration off his arm.
So I don't know if they're going to stop the game and work on the mound, or the umpires are headed back to their positions.
I'm not exactly sure what Joe Maddon had to request from the umpire.
Well, he's one of the things he did, it looks like Will Rhymes was down in the bullpen.
Maybe the phone's not working, and he sent Rhymes down to go tell somebody to warm up.
Aha.
I think that was the issue.
Fastball misses low and away. That's what Rhymes was doing. He ran down to the bullpen to tell the bullpen which guys he wanted up. Badenhop and McGee. And on his way out is Jim Hickey, the pitching coach. The Marlins now runners at first and second. Will Rhymes, I know he doesn't get a game played here, but
he gets an assist.
He gets an assist. Hey, whatever you need.
I was kind of in that position the latter part of my career.
Hutton,
the designated guy to go run down to the bullpen when the phone wasn't working.
Every team needs one. There's Rhymes.
Yeah, you saw Madden give the phone look and say, hey, it's not working. Rhymes, okay, get Badenhop, get McGee up.
Now watch the tip of the cap. Oh, he missed it.
He's getting high fives.
Here now is Hayes. And the Rays were certain that he was going to bunt, so much so that Pena was about 30 feet in at first, and Hayes didn't budge. The count's 1-0. Hayes has popped out and struck out. Hayes just trying to make contact here. In his last 5 at-bats, he has struck out 4 times. Marlins have a run, a couple doubles, and a walk. Shields finally throws a strike. It's 2-1.
And by the way, Gabby's RBI double snapped an 0 for 5 the Marlins had going today with runners in scoring position. So baby steps.
Sanchez at second. Coughlin at first. Breaking ball, ground ball, foul. And the count evens at 2-2. The Marlins have used one of their pinch hitting weapons, Justin Ruggiano. He had a leadoff double in the 6th. Greg Dobbs is on deck right now, and you wonder if with McGee ready, and the Rays are actually using the old-fashioned wave of the cap from the bullpen to let the dugout know that both guys are ready. That one fouled. That before bullpen phones, it was you take your cap off and wave it just like that.
And you had signals for the different pitchers. If you had a portly left-hander, you'd put your arms out, go lefty. If you had a tall, skinny right-hander, you'd go up high. Joe Maddon's old school anyway, so he's used to all that.
Yeah, he says, Will, get ready to run down there and bring in the lefty. 2-2 to Hayes. Hayes drives it foul. Shields hanging one of those changeups.
That's what's gotten him in trouble the last couple of starts. We pointed out the last couple of starts for James Shields. 11 innings. He'd given up 17 hits and 10 earned runs. Not the case so far today.
Two and two again. It's in, and the count full now at 3-2. Well, Marlin fans for the last 5 games have been hoping, waiting for a big hit, and they have yet to get it. Now, home plate umpire Chad Fairchild pointing out to left field something.
I think we had something fall out on the field. It's like a balloon from the Clevelander. May have been a part of one of the costumes out there. Either way, Rich, regardless of what Brett Hayes does here, I think McGee comes in to pitch to Dobbs.
Coghlan's at first, Gabby's at second. Shields his 100th pitch of the ball game. That one is pulled foul. And regardless of what happens here, Hayes has had a pretty good at bat.
He's had an excellent at bat. He's seen 8 pitches already.
For Shields, another 3-2. And another foul ball. Shields, as we've pointed out, his last 2 starts, not so good. Lots of hits, 10 earned runs. And his problem has been the big inning. Obviously, he stayed away from it here. He's up 4-1 in the bottom of the 7th. But the Marlins have an opportunity now. Brett Hayes battling. Got him. Changeup.
Always goes to that go-to pitch.
So an out, and let's see. The Marlins bring Dobbs to the plate. You see the Fox Tracks brought to you by Warren Henry. And here comes Joe Madden.
You just had that feeling with the number of pitches, the way Shields has had to battle here in this 7th inning, that Joe Madden wasn't going to take any chances and wanted to get the lefty-lefty matchup once Dobbs was announced.
Shields exits. Rays go to their bullpen, which has been very good lately and very good in this series. Here's our Jose Cuervo called to the bullpen. 4-1. It's Jake McGee.
And as expected, the lefty-lefty matchup hides the ball pretty well and throws lots of fastballs. He has a breaking ball. He'll throw a slider. But a good percentage of his pitches are fastballs. Now, Greg Dobbs last year, when he played a lot more, when he was over at third base, he saw left-handers more frequent. This year, only 5 ABs against lefties.
1 for 5 with a double this year against lefties. So here is Dobbs. You've got Reyes on deck. And McGee misses. McGee's one of those lefties out of the pen who actually has seen left-handed hitters hit 229 against him. Right-handed hitters just 139. Been very good from the start of May on into this ball game. Just a 1.26 ERA. And here is Dobbs staring out at left-hander Jake McGee. Misses twice, and he goes 2-0.
You always love to watch Greg Dobbs work a pitcher. He's gotten him in that good hitters count right here. He just saw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
Here at the bottom of the 7th, the Marlins have a run. Doubles by Logan Morrison and Gabby Sanchez. A walk to Chris Coughlin. Hayes struck out. McGee's first batter. And Dobbs flips a fly ball to left. Jennings is over there, and he makes the catch. 2 outs, and here comes Reyes. Reyes on an 0 for 3 afternoon. The splits for Reyes favor the Rays in leaving McGee in. Right-handed, he's at 196. 51 at bats. He does not have an extra base hit from this side of the plate this year.
Which is pretty amazing because from this side of the plate, he usually has a little more pop.
He's behind the count 0-1.
Well, that's some good numbers, though, since May 12th. Coming into the game, Jose Reyes over 340 at home.
McGee misses up. A ball and a strike. Ground ball to his left. Zobrist flips the first in time. And the inning is over, and Jake McGee shuts the door. It's a 1-run 7th, a 4-1 Rays lead. chevron. Josh Beckett, Josh Johnson. That's about all you have to say. Although you look at their record and their ERA, not certainly indicative of their pedigree and their history. Beckett, of course, a former Marlin World Series hero in 2003.
And a World Series hero for the Red Sox.
It's true.
So a big game pitcher, we know that for sure. And recently has started throwing the ball a lot better.
I think you could say the same about Josh Johnson.
Josh Johnson's last outing, the best we've seen this year. Edward Mujica comes on.
And the Marlins have an actual run, which is a start, but still continue that trend of being unable to crack open a big inning.
Unable to string together 3 or 4 hits in an inning. And lately, Rich, the bullpen has struggled in these situations.
Keeping it close.
Yes.
Reyes straightens up, fires at the first. Time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. And the Cold Hard Blast off the bat of Matt Joyce. It was a 1-0 game at the time, and Joyce made it 2-0 with that Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. He is 11th. And so Mujica throws a strike. Anibal Sanchez went 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. In the air to left, Morrison is there, and he makes the catch.
Because of the National League rules, other than in a couple of pinch hit rolls, the Marlins haven't seen a couple of the other left-handed bats that the Rays have. They certainly will next weekend in St. Petersburg, but haven't seen Luke Scott except pinch hitting. Matsui had a pinch hit last night. So that lineup will get a little tougher next weekend.
Now Zobrist, who's had a breakout series, a couple of homers last night, 2 more hits today. See, the season average does not match up with his series numbers. James Shields, his line goes 6 1/3, 4 hits, a run, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts. That ball hit well. Stanton back, reaches up, makes the catch. Face plant on the warning track. But Giancarlo holds on. Mujica with a 6-pitch inning and a nice play by the Marlins right fielder. Nice extension, and he sticks the landing.
Touchdown!
Subscribe to MLB.tv today and see every Marlins out-of-market game live on your favorite device in HD quality. Visit Marlins.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. (4-1), Rays on top, bottom 8. And Tampa Bay dips further into the bullpen. Jake McGee got 2 very important outs to finish the 7th, and now Joel Peralta comes out.
We saw Peralta a little bit the first game of this series. Good fastball and curveball. His splitter is his nice out pitch, his go-to pitch.
Peralta comes in for the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the Marlins lineup. Infante first to face him, and he misses outside. Peralta pitched a rather uneventful 8th inning on Friday night in a 5-1 win. He got Infante on a fly ball out to center. Dots the outside corner, and it's a ball and a strike. And of course, the Marlins are well aware, because they saw him on Friday night, that at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, at the end of the Rays bullpen, is Fernando Rodney. Sharp breaking ball.
A couple of guys that you got the herky jerkiness of Peralta, the good splitter, and then Rodney we saw with the mid-90s fastball and outstanding changeup.
One-two pitch coming. Inside corner. Chad Fairchild emphatically calling Infante out.
Boy, I almost thought that Chad Fairchild pulled a muscle making that call. Very emphatic strike 3 call, and looked like it was just off the plate.
Warren Henry bringing you Fox Tracks. Hanley Ramirez now has bounced out, flied out, walked. Marlins have a run, and that's it on 4 hits, all of them doubles, all of them against James Shields. Hanley gets a breaking ball, and it's a fly ball to left. Desmond Jennings is there, and he makes the catch. It's been a dry series for Hanley. Giancarlo Stanton comes up with 2 outs.
Yeah, just a 1-for-8 series from Hanley Ramirez.
Stanton has struck out twice. One of the big moments for Shields was striking out Stanton in the 6th when the Marlins had a pair of runners on, and that ended the inning. At the knees. 0-1. Keeping an eye on the American League East, National League East week. The Blue Jays have scored 6 runs in the 5th and have a 6-4 lead over Atlanta. Stanton bangs one in the left field for a base hit, and he's aboard, and that'll bring Morrison up. Giancarlo with his 3rd hit of the series.
Looked like Peralta tried to quick pitch him, and it didn't work. And he's known to do that every once in a while.
Here now is Morrison. Doubled in the second, bounced to second in the fourth, doubled in the seventh. Got a little walkie-talkie action now. If the bullpen phones are out, you get the stadium-issued walkie-talkies. Just have to make sure you're not on the same frequency as the concession stands when they need more chips or popcorn.
Yeah, you have to be on the correct channel.
Promising day so far for Morrison. Peralta misses way outside. It's 2-0. Boston is holding a 2-1 lead in the top of the seventh against the Nationals. The Nationals against John Lester, who's still in there, have runners at second and third and 2 outs. Stanton is on the move, and the fastball is up. I believe Stanton should get a stolen base because Pena was playing cat and mouse with him behind him.
Yeah, they weren't holding him on, and Pena wasn't on the bag, but you're right. He's jockeying with him, behind him, letting him know. I would say stolen base, especially in a 4-1 game. And a good move on Stanton's part. They're going to give it to you. Go ahead and take it.
Get yourself in scoring position. See what Morrison gets. 3-0. A 90-mile-an-hour fastball. It's 3-1. Gabby Sanchez is on deck. And there is Rodney. He of the sub-1 ERA. And 17 saves. Morrison waiting on Peralta. And the 3-1. Hammered into right field. That's a base hit. Stanton round third, on his way to the plate. The throw from Joyce comes in, and Stanton scores. And the Marlins have cut the lead down to 2, and Morrison has 3 hits in the ball game.
Boy, and all 3 have been hit well. He doubled over the head of the right fielder, Matt Joyce, back in the second inning. He doubled into the gap in left center, and this time he turns on a pitch middle in. So 3 terrific swings from Logan Morrison. Cuts that lead.
Gabby Sanchez now with 2 outs. Sanchez roped a double down the left field line against Shields his last time up, and Peralta misses outside, and it's 1-0. Better plate discipline. His on-base percentage was close to 500 in his almost 3-week stay in the minor leagues.
But the other important thing,
Morrison's going to try for second, and he's in there. The ball rolls to center. Lomo will hold on a ball that bounced in front of Jose Lobaton. Morrison didn't hesitate. A bit of a gamble, but it pays off.
That pays off, and it's a good gamble. It's a heads-up gamble. A good job by. Look at how he gets that secondary lead. He's way out there, and because he was out there and got a quick jump, he ends up getting to second on what will be a wild pitch, and almost jams those spikes into the dirt.
You could see from that replay, if the ball had been held at second, Morrison probably would have been out.
The thing I was talking about with Gabby that I really liked what he said when he went down to AAA. He said he tried not to concern himself with numbers. So he wasn't every day looking in to see what he was doing. He did say, though, but he realized he was on base a lot. And he was. He had a near 500 on base percentage.
Well, it's certainly a credit to him because, I mean, you've got to be, I mean, that's got to be your instinct, is to know exactly what your numbers are, because you want to get promoted back to the big leagues.
And it's a humbling situation. 2 years in the big leagues, 2 real solid years.
Gabby has one of those 2 hits with an RBI double in the 7th. And Morrison's at second. 2-0 pitch coming. Pickoff throw.
Well, Lomo's got to be careful, because if the throw was there, I think he was going to be out.
Look at Ozzie. He knows it.
Actually, the throw was there. If the throw was caught by Zobrist, he would have been out.
And Ozzie signaling to Morrison, just stay close to the bag. But he has put himself in scoring position. .81-mile-an-hour changeup.
That split. Yeah, he didn't get that 2-0 fastball. It's a pitch you probably get in New Orleans. That's one of the biggest differences up here. You're going to get an assortment of pitches when you get yourself in that hitter's count.
He's still in a good hitter's count at 2-1. And Morrison is still at second base, despite the Rays' 2 opportunities to get him out. Check swing. Did not go on a pitch that looked close to the strike zone. In fact, it was in the strike zone. And I think, Tommy, that's an example of when a hitter sometimes checks his swing on a borderline pitch. Rather than call it a strike, an umpire will oftentimes ask for a swing. Because as an umpire, I mean, you're watching 2 things. You're watching for the pitch in the strike zone, then you see the bat come through. So a break for Gabby. Let's see if he makes it pay off on the 3-1 pitch. Breaking ball. That's a strike.
Wow.
You see, it's much further out than the pitch that he called the ball. So it's 3-2. Remember the split that he got on 2-0.
Yeah, you have to file that away if you're a hitter.
Time called.
But the other thing, you've seen everything he has. You've seen the split, you've seen the fastball, you've seen the breaking ball.
A run across, a couple of 2-out hits, a stolen base by Stanton, and an RBI single by Morrison. Three-two coming. Struck him out, and Gabby didn't like the call. Fairchild rings him up, and the Marlins leave Morrison at second. happy with the call. We were unable to capture it on Fox Tracks on video, but in looking at it, it was borderline on the knees.
Yeah, it's one of those, Rich, if you, as the pitch before, Gabby started to head to first base, and it kind of, not that he showed the umpire up on purpose, but when you do that, you better swing at anything close the next pitch. And that was close, borderline ball, borderline strike. It could go either way. And the frustrating part, even more for Gabby, is that's what he went down to the minor leagues to work on, is patience, is better knowledge of the strike zone. So very frustrating, AB.
Ground ball, and Gabby Sanchez steps on the bag. Jose Lobaton is out. One scoring note from that inning: there is no stolen base given to Giancarlo Stanton. It's defensive indifference, which I have a problem with in terms of the scoring. Pena was darting back and forth trying to keep Stanton at first, and that shows that the Rays were at least cognizant that he was at first. Pena wasn't playing back on the outfield grass, and it was a 3-run game.
Yeah, it's not like they just totally disregarded him as a base runner. Mujica, before that pitch, had gotten 4 outs on 7 pitches.
Elliott Johnson, a comebacker. Mujica has it, flips it to first.
How about 5 outs on 9 pitches?
Well, the Marlins are going to see Fernando Rodney when they get to the bottom of the 9th. There is Rodney warming up. And the Marlins will have Chris Coghlan, Brett Hayes, the pitcher spot, and if it goes any further, Reyes and Infante. Sean Rodriguez takes a breaking ball for a strike. Lined into left center field. Morrison after it there, and he makes a running catch. And Mujica turns in a couple of solid innings of relief. And here comes Rodney, and here comes the bottom of the 9th. By AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Checkers, feast on. (4-2), bottom of the 9th. The Rays bring in their closer, the very successful Fernando Rodney. Kyle Farnsworth injured. Rodney has stepped in, and Rodney may find himself in Kansas City at the All-Star game. And the Rays I think, have found their closer for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'll say he could find himself in Kansas City, an ERA of 0.98. He's converted 17 of 18 save operations, and he's thrown strikes. Look at that, 26 strikeouts, just 5 walks.
It'll be Chris Coughlin, Brett Hayes, and then the pitcher spot. Rodney worked a scoreless 9th on Friday. Walked the leadoff man, then got a double play, and was through the inning without a hit. Coughlin takes a strike. Chris has walked twice. End of the bat, shallow right center. Joyce is on, and he makes a running catch. And there's an out in the books here in the 9th inning. Marlins Live, brought to you by Checkers. Comes up after the game, comes to you from center field. And you'll get the pleasure of Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine and their new Tommy Bahama shirts out in center field. Hayes now. The infield shifted around for Hayes. Rodney pours in a strike at 97. Misses up with a changeup. Phillies and Orioles are tied now 4-4 in the bottom of the 7th inning. And the Yankees have taken a 4-3 lead over the Mets. Nationals and Red Sox are now tied 3-3 in the 8th in Boston. That Yankee lead over the Mets is just starting the top of the 9th at Yankee Stadium. Hayes fouls it off. Toyota trend, the Marlins have left 10 or more runners on base 12 times, but actually are 9-3 in those ball games.
That's a crazy number.
Yep. Marlins have left 7 in this game. And Hayes pops it into shallow right. Joyce. Now there are 2 outs, and Fernando Rodney looks overpowering on the mound. Donovan Solano is the last hope for the Fish. Marlins getting single runs in the 7th and in the 8th. But in both cases, leaving runners in scoring position to finish that inning. And here is Solano, who has sparkled in his first stint in the big leagues. This certainly not an easy request from Ozzie Guillen.
Now, when you're a young player and you haven't done a lot of pinch hitting, and then to be called on and to pinch hit against a guy who's throwing as well as Rodney.
Jose Reyes is on deck. Rodney trying to nail down the win and continue this nice run by the Rays. The Rays have won 3 in a row, including the first 2 of this 3-game set. Joe Maddon's club a half game up over the Yankees in the East. The Marlins opened the homestand, tied for first, and have tumbled all the way to 4th. And are staring at their 6th consecutive loss unless Ozzie Guillen's team could come up with a couple of runs. 2 outs, nobody on in the bottom of the 9th.
That would take them to 2-7 here in the month of June.
After the best month in club history, the month of May. Rodney catches the corner.
And during the 6 games, Rich, I'm just looking back, 5 for 50 with runners in scoring position.
And a total of 10 runs scored. Two-two. Chopper, third baseline, and it kicks foul. 31,111 in the building for this one on a very hot and humid day in Miami. Red Sox here tomorrow night. Josh Johnson, Josh Beckett. Nationals and Red Sox 3-3 right now in the 8th at Fenway. Top of the 8th. Solano stands back in. Rodney with a 2-2. Lined into right field, a base hit. And the Marlins have life, albeit 2-out life in the bottom of the 9th. And an incredible run by Donovan Solano, who had such a great spring training because of numbers and guaranteed contracts, did not make the club, gets called up, and he's done everything the Marlins have asked him to do.
He just continues to hit. It's the bottom line. He's 4 for 8 now as a pinch hitter. Hard to do for veterans, let alone for a kid just in the big leagues a couple of weeks.
Here is Reyes. Rodney starts it with a changeup and misses up. Reyes is 0 for 4. Chopper to first, and it kicks by Pena. Did he touch it? It's a foul ball. Wow, the question immediately was, did Pena touch it in fair territory before it went foul? But both umpires said foul ball. No, he didn't touch it.
And he did not touch it, but he was trying to make the play. He was trying to make the grab while it was in fair territory, but it just missed his glove.
He is a terrific first baseman.
Yeah, I think he's very fortunate that it did just miss his glove.
1-1. Rodney's changeup is outside again, and it's 2-1. Reyes trying to get on. Infante's on deck. Miami down a couple. The Rays trying to finish the sweep. Off the end of the bat, Lobaton's throw is in time, and Tampa Bay has swept Miami. The Rays have won 4 straight. Fernando Rodney shuts it down, and Joe Maddon's ball club stays in first place. They've won 4 in a row, and they're doing it without one of the best players in the game. Evan Longoria is about a week away, they hope. In the meantime, Joe Maddon and the Rays are doing just fine. A 4-2 win over Miami. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai. And by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. And by Checkers. Feast on. It's a final 4-2 Rays. Marlins Live is next.